What's up, everyone? I'm Blackbeard. This is
Eclipso.
and
Raymond.
we're gonna do our podcast today. This is gonna be our Raw recap. Today's podcast is gonna be the Kliq podcast. The Kliq rules. Too sweet,
Too
bro.
sweet. Wolfpack, all that stuff. Raymond should introduce himself because no one knows who he is.
All right. So the podcast is usually me and Eclipso. Raymond's first time on the podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Well, hello, Raymond.
Hi.
Good friend of everyone's.
How long you been watching WWE, man?
Well, let's see. 2006, or I think 2005 maybe.
Okay.
And then from then I had a huge gap until about 2012.
Right on.
And then from then I've been watching steady.
Yeah, I mean, you were in on it when we were all watching at the apartment and stuff.
Yeah.
I got you. And who is your favorite wrestler? I know, big question.
I feel like I should be sarcastic about this, or just say John Cena, right?
I mean, that's not a bad choice.
He's not the worst guy to pick,
No.
but not the best guy to pick.
Definitely not. I wouldn't scoff at that choice.
I wouldn't either. You know, I'll let people. I'm wearing a Cena shirt right now, so I mean,
Yeah, what can you do?
Okay, well, you can't really say anything about it then if you're wearing a Cena shirt.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, he does have a few good shirts, though. So.
Even my mom likes his shirt, and she doesn't even like wrestling. So I mean,
Well, he has enough of them that some of them are bound to be good.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
his
if
like
you have
shirts
enough
from like
shirts, you have that
05
good
to
one.
like 2012 were like all bad. Like literally all of them made me want to throw up.
No, there has to be at least one good one. There's got to be a
Not
hidden gem somewhere.
Maybe I think he had like the dark blue, and he was feuding with Ziggler, but I hated that shirt just because he was always beating him.
yeah, Cena
there
always
was
wears
that.
the ridiculously bright colors, and I'm not sure why. Even if
You
it's
can't see me.
even if it's like a dark shirt, like the black one, he still has the bright green highlights. It's just like
Yeah, that's the one I'm wearing now. So
I
shut
figured.
up.
I figured it was.
I gotta
know
get a
that's
new
the
Cena.
one.
I might buy all the Cena shirts.
You definitely need to buy a new Cena shirt. I think I should buy a Cena shirt. Sure, buy a Cena shirt.
Shia shirt?
Yeah. Look, I might have had a couple drinks during Raw to get me through Raw. All right, but it's not a big
Come on,
deal.
Nikki.
Raw, I had to go into Brie mode. All right, and Raw is a lot better when you have a couple drinks. It's a lot more
It
tolerable.
honestly is.
You know, sometimes you really do need a few drinks.
I mean,
How about that opening though?
so Seth Rollins comes out. Seth Rollins is opening the show, cutting a promo against Sting. Sting stole his statue, and he's really
Stole
mad
it.
about it. You took my statue, Sting. It's my property.
How is that a baby face quality?
That
Like,
Sting
explain
stole
that.
his statue?
That he stole something.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I just don't think they know what they're doing at all.
So
It's
wait,
like,
yeah. So the kayfabe storyline is that Sting is literally carrying a statue with him from stadium to stadium and hiding it somewhere in the building so that Seth Rollins can demand to ask it from him, and then he can cut a promo in front of it. Like,
guess so.
that's the storyline, I guess. So
That's grade A quality storylines right there, man.
I was right along with Baltimore when they started hitting him with the boring chants because I love Rollins to death, but I'm so over him opening the show.
yeah,
It doesn't make it feel like a real show if the same guy is constantly coming out. It is so bad. And I love him, but he does the same thing where he brags about who he is and says, "I'm going to overcome this obstacle that Triple H and Stephanie put forth." It's the same thing.
it's
And
true.
It's not doing him any favors. It's not doing Raw any favors. And he got hit with boring chants, and he deserved it.
It's true. I mean, at least he said he's the man. He's showing that he has confidence. That's something that Seth Rollins' character has gotten more development in the past year than anyone else on the roster. And I mean,
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, he's the champion now, so they have to develop his character.
exactly. But even before
I liked
that,
his exchange with Sheamus. That was a little bit of a shake-up. That was like
That's true.
Yeah, but then you realized it was Sheamus, and
then you did realize it was Sheamus, and I don't think he's going to do anything at Night of Champions just because he's talking about doing it.
No, I think that's just a tease. There's no way. He might, like, honestly, he might, like, come out and stare at them and hold up the briefcase, and that causes Rollins to lose or whatever. Whatever, you know. Fucking WWE.
Who knows, man?
So, anyway, he demands that Sting returns his statue, and then there's a backstage segment with him and Triple H. And Triple H puts him in a champion versus champion match with the
Ryback
big guy.
The big guy.
And then also says that later that night there's a tag team match with him because he's saying that he needs to be in 2 matches on Raw to prepare him to be in 2 matches at Night of Champions.
Which makes sense.
Which does make sense. So his motivation's understandable. And he's like, alright, you're saying you're the man, and there's this kind of tension between him and Triple H now. And, I don't know.
When do you do that match? I'm asking you, Blackbeard. When do you do the match? Because they obviously are like have a boner for the idea of Triple H and Seth Rollins.
They do. But here's the thing: they've just now started foreshadowing it, and with WWE, when they foreshadow their long angles, that means that you're not going to see it for a long time. Seth Rollins got the Money in the Bank briefcase and held it until Mania, or like I was watching early 2014 Raw the other day. And it's matches at. It was just after the Royal Rumble 2014, and Seth Rollins walks out on Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns in a match with the Wyatts. I mean, they're already foreshadowing the Shield breakup, and it was in January. They didn't break up until after SummerSlam, so I mean, I don't see that match happening until Mania.
I was listening to a podcast on what Wade Keller was talking about. They brought up an interesting point. There's still rumblings that they want to do Triple H and Rock.
Yeah, and Rousey
32.
and yeah.
And if they or just Triple H and Rock, and if they go with that match and they want to turn either guy, seems like they will end up turning Hunter. And if they turn Hunter and they have Rollins to be a babyface and they do the match before they do a Triple H and Rock match at WrestleMania 32, that's not good for Rollins because he's not going to walk in with a loss against Rollins going into a match with The Rock at WrestleMania 32 that he's going to lose, of course.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I kind of have this. Everything about this kind of smells stinky, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt as I see it unfold.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't want to jump to any judgments about that because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do with that.
There's so much stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see if they don't.
Who knows
screw
if that
it
even
up.
happens, you know?
Yeah, who knows?
They could do.
They could easily screw things up.
They could do Rock and Brock, you know?
They could do Rock and Brock, too.
They could do a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of potential, but we'll just have to see where they go with it. Because, I mean, they constantly, in my honest opinion, they constantly always have like a bunch of potential to do things, and they just always refuse to do it.
It's true. There's so many times where they'll start an angle, or they'll like foreshadow an angle, or drop some hints for an angle, and then it'll just fizzle into nothing. And
just wait till next SummerSlam to do Seth and Triple H. That's my idea. Just wait. Just don't blow your load on the match.
Yeah.
Just
There's really no
wait.
reason it should be anywhere. There's no pay-per-view it fits at between now and Mania.
WrestleMania. Yeah, it doesn't fit.
It doesn't even fit at the Rumble because you don't have those big matches at the Rumble because the Rumble is the big match.
Exactly.
So I don't see it happening. Yeah, until if it happens, it'll happen at Mania or SummerSlam, next SummerSlam. Fun little thing I wanted to point out is Seth Rollins during his backstage interview or his backstage segment. He's like, "Come on, guys, can't we just get together as a family?" And he's standing in between Stephanie and Triple H, and they're like looking at him like he's the little kid. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, I saw that. I was laughing pretty hard when I saw that.
I like the actual like family undertones there because it's pretty hilarious. Papa Triple H is especially funny.
Papa Triple H. That's a good way to describe it there.
Because it's always like that's always his character. He's always like the disappointed dad or like the proud dad, or like the dad who's trying to challenge you and build character, and he's like, "Yeah, you have to do this."
You
Yeah,
have to do it.
it's one of those three.
Exactly. So it was pretty.
I think
funny.
they throw
I
a
like
dart
that.
and see which one that he's gonna do this week.
Yeah, or it'll be troll Triple H, which is
Troll Triple H,
my
which is
favorite
my
Triple
least favorite
H.
person.
No, Troll Triple H is my favorite Triple H, but he's just acting like a piece of shit, and it's hilarious. Next match, Sasha versus Paige, rematch from last week. They had a really screwy finish at the Beat the Clock match last week, and I heard it was actually a botched finish. Like there's a mistiming, and Sasha was supposed to be in the PTO when the timer went out, and so like the ending of the match was supposed to be like, oh, was she going to tap out or not? And instead they couldn't get into the PTO in time, and time just ran out.
Okay, that makes more sense then, because I was wondering, it didn't look right that they just kind of pulled her out of the ring.
Yeah,
It was
apparently
sloppy.
the whatever it was took too long, or they just mistimed it or whatever, because that was supposed to be the ending to it, and then it was like a weird botch with the timing, and they were just kind of like wrestling a little bit, and she lost in the middle of it.
It was all stupid.
It was strange. Like time ran out like in the middle of a lockup. But so rematch from last week, Sasha versus Paige. They get some good time.
It was pretty decent. Yeah, they had almost 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
It was definitely one of the better matches of the Divas for a while.
Yeah.
Quote unquote revolution.
Ish. Yeah.
They had a pretty decent rhythm about it. I like the finish in that Naomi distracted the ref and Sasha got the.
Did you like
little
that?
pin. Yeah.
I was upset because I was like, oh, distraction finish in a Divas match. Like
I literally always want my heels, not all the time, but most of Sasha's wins have been just her doing something that was cool and then getting the finish, which is awesome. But Sasha's not a baby face. Sasha is a part of a heel faction, and she needs to be getting booed. As much as I do want Sasha, she needs to be doing heel things like constantly, and she does that in the ring. She does that. Her and Kevin Owens are really good about mocking their opponents in the ring. They always do it.
Yeah,
it's a classic thing. I don't see people doing that very often. So I loved that.
that's
but,
very like classic heel tactics.
Sasha did have her shoulders down when she did the pin.
She did. I thought that was a botch too. I was like, come on, guys, what's going on?
It probably was, but it's one of those botches that worked because it's a haha. I should have been a double pin, but I didn't. She can heal it up about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm
That's
fine
true.
with it.
Yeah, and in kayfabe, they can always just play it off as the ref's decision. So
Yeah, and Paige looked pretty upset about it at the end of the match, and that she didn't. I can sense a very small decision with her and PCB as the time goes on.
okay.
And I'm waiting for the breakup. I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah, I feel like
They
that's
do
the
seem
most...
like they are kind of setting that up,
Yeah,
especially with what happened last week with the Beat the Clock challenge. Like, that's a pretty easy way to, like, you can kind of break something up.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
At the least, show some rivalry between them. So
Mm-hmm.
next match, my boys, the Ascension, come out.
Without
Oh, yeah.
Stardust.
No Stardust, just Ascension. I think the stable formed at a house show. It hasn't debuted on TV yet.
They did it on SmackDown.
It was on SmackDown?
Yeah, they did it on SmackDown. They
Fuck
acknowledged
me.
it on commentary, but Stardust wasn't there, so
Huh.
whatever.
Well, the Shield, or Shield. I wrote down the Shield. Dean
The
Ambrose
Shield.
and Roman Reigns come out through the audience, just like the old Shield days.
Yeah, the Shield, man.
And then Rollins is backstage crying,
Yeah,
wishing he could be a part of it again.
not
And not
anymore.
be chasing a fucking clown who stole his statue.
Joker Sting. I'll get into that.
Joker,
later.
Joker
Joker
Sting.
Sting.
We got to go into that because that was total Joker Sting later.
That's
So,
a good name. I like that.
They beat the Ascension in essentially a squash match.
It was a squash match.
It was a squash, but it was definitely necessary. The last 2 weeks, those boys have been getting their tail handed to them, and they got their win back. They got some heat.
Yeah, they need to
letting people know.
Yeah, they're still strong.
They went over strong, and it's like, okay, cool. They needed that because they weren't doing anything but they were putting some heat on good old Braun.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
They've been putting heat on him for like 2 weeks now, so they needed to have that. So they got that out of the way. Little squash match. Everyone got to cheer for Shield, old Shield.
Can we talk about that
Shield.
video package of Rusev, Samurai, and Lana and Ziggler? And
Please, let's do it.
That was so good, dude. That was the next segment. Like, it was like a
That video
TMZ
package.
styled video package.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Whoever they got to do the voiceover was great.
Yeah, that was my bro. I liked how he talked about everything.
There was like they did like the meme writing on people. Like it had Summer Rae going like OMG and like all this stuff.
Not only did
So
they show it
topical.
once, but they showed it twice.
Oh yeah, they showed it
They
twice
showed it
during the
twice.
night. I mean, you can understand it's a video package. They worked hard on that. They're not just gonna
Oh
show
yeah,
it once.
man.
They got
Quality.
3 hours of TV to fill. Okay,
It's what I go into my Raws wanting to see.
the same thing multiple times because you will.
No,
Oh, you
it's just like that
will.
that video, that specific
particular
video,
statement.
like that
It's that
exact
segment.
segment there. You know, I like to go see my relationships turn out. in
Oh,
Raw.
man. Yeah, so that
That's what
was
I'm
just the
about.
video package before the actual segment happened. So that happened, and then they're just like, "Oh, that's going to happen later," and then
That was good. They had the Rollins Ryback match was
Ryback and
next.
Rollins is next, champion versus champion match.
I always like these two going at it. I've always thought that their chemistry was good.
Yeah, I tried to think of the last time I saw Ryback and Rollins in a match, and I think it was like in a Shield multi-man, but I'm not sure. Either
They
way,
had a couple matches last year when the Authority and Team Cena
oh
thing
yeah,
was going on.
oh yeah,
And
okay.
they've had it's mostly like on SmackDown. They've maybe had like 1 or 2 matches on Raw. So
yeah.
it's not exactly a fresh match, but it's not like a match that's been so overdone that you're like, not again.
Right.
You know?
Well, they were in FCW together, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I think they came
Maybe a
up
little
around
bit
the same
briefly.
time. Either
I
way,
think Ryback was like putting up on the main roster a little bit before.
no,
Seth.
he definitely was because the Shield didn't debut till like 2011, right?
12.
12. That's what
And
I
they
thought.
put him through the table,
Right.
Ironically, of all people.
That's true. Yeah. So
There's
Ryback
always that
versus
little background
Rollins.
with Seth and him.
Ryback is
versus
actually
Rollins was pretty good.
Ryback is getting better as a wrestler. You know.
Yeah, he is.
He
He actually
actually
looked
did
pretty good.
some. Yeah, right. He did some chain wrestling tonight. He busted out a couple like splashes, some top rope stuff. You know.
I like his splash. I'm a big fan of that.
I'm starting to grow on it now that he's not just completely landing on his knees.
Yeah.
You know, there was a certain point where Ryback went up to the top rope, and Byron Saxton said, "Ryback is about to become Flyback."
I don't remember hearing that.
God bless you,
I
Byron Saxton.
Me
Probably
neither.
erased it from my memory.
God
You know,
bless Byron
Byron
Saxton.
continues to show me that he needs to die and go away.
I'm always
just a
listening to
little bit.
commentary for those little moments, those little just things that they say that make you go,
You know,
"What?"
things like that. I'm just like, yeah, erasing that from my memory.
Seriously. So, Flyback. It's going to be his new
Flyback.
gimmick. He teams with Neville.
He got
man.
He only
He
does
got a
top
little
rope
pin.
splashes.
He got a little pin on Rollins and beat him, which was pretty
He
surprising.
picked up the pin
I
off a
was-
distraction. That's true.
Yeah, I was disappointed that Owens didn't attack him afterwards because they had their little exchange in the back.
That
and
would've
it
been-
just
Yeah,
was not even talked about again.
that's very true. That's weird. Huh.
Very.
But yeah, because they had the little Owens came in during Ryback's promo, which was pretty good. I think Owens is doing a good job of trying to work with Ryback, at least trying to get people to give a shit about it.
Yeah, I think it would have. This would have been a prime time where they could have before the backstage segment, which we'll talk about with New Day and New Day and Seth, and then the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian, blah, blah, blah. Before that, they could have done a backstage interview with Ryback about his victory. You just beat the WWE champion and the U.S. champion. You just beat the guy. You know, how are you feeling? You know, he starts trying to get into his little Ryback thing, and then you have Owens ambush him and beat him up, build some heat on that match. But they'll probably say that for SmackDown, which is cool, but at the same time, you could have easily put that on Raw. There was enough time.
It's true.
But yeah, missed opportunity.
Well, I mean, Sting has to give another promo, you know?
Yeah, you have to have Sting have a Sting mask on him, and then show him not have the Sting mask, and then have the Sting mask be put on Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
That was necessary. That was the show.
To a huge pop, by the way. He literally, It was a completely silent segment. He just had the mask on, he took it off, and he put it on the statue. And everyone cheered. They loved it.
There was a time in TNA where Sting had I don't know if it was during his Jeff Hardy feud or what.
I think it was RVD.
Had,
Is it the one
it
that
might have been
if
RVD.
it's the one I'm thinking of where he takes it off and he hits him with the chair?
Yeah. Okay, that was RVD.
Okay, go on.
That happened. He had a Sting mask on and takes it off, and it's just Sting.
Yeah. It's Sting posing as a guy with a Sting mask on in the crowd. And he takes off the mask, and it's him. And then he gives... my favorite part of that, by the way, is the chair shot he gives to RVD, because it's the lamest chair shot. He basically just holds the chair and he extends his arms out, and that's all it is. Mm-hmm. It looks so bad.
And that was when TNA was on Monday nights, and they were going head-to-head with Raw. And it was
Quote,
the
unquote.
new Monday Night Wars.
Oh, boy.
I tell you, man. TNA
we can't go into
TNA.
Man. We can make a whole TNA episode. We can't go into that now.
TNA had it, man. They could have. 2009, they had a strong year. 2009, they had Desmond Wolfe.
We're gonna get a lot of
Nigel
hate for
McGuinness.
this. If anyone listens to this, we're gonna get hate for this
on their roster. They had Nigel. They had him right there, and they were like, "No, you know what? Let's bring in Bischoff and Hogan." We got
Let's
this.
not get into TNA. Keeps going on about TNA.
Yeah, okay.
No.
They had Nigel McGuinness, alright.
Nigel McGuinness!
I'm going to cut out all of that, alright? I'm cutting out all of the TNA talk.
I'm going to take that part and let people know how upset
I'm cutting out the entire TNA talk. I don't care. Anyway, fucking Edge and Christian, surprise Edge and Christian during a New Day promo. I was super happy to see Edge and Christian just show up. I remembered that they were on the Stone Cold podcast afterwards, but I was just like, yeah, Edge and Christian out of nowhere, because like usually they're advertised or something, you know.
I like that Edge brought up about what happened with him and Rollins last year when he almost he's like, oh, I'm gonna break him, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, callback.
Good callback, and Rollins actually was like, bruh, you were the ultimate opportunist. I don't want to hear it.
That's true.
I was like, that's a good argument. Edge did some pretty terrible things during his run, so, he of all people should understand.
And then Xavier Woods played the battle theme on his sax, on his trombone.
Final Fantasy.
The fucking Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I heard that. They even questioned it. They're like, is that a charge? And I was like, what?
It's like, no, he played it twice, because the first
not.
time he played it was during the Dudley Boys promo, and then he did it later on during the match.
Mm-hmm. I love Xavier Woods, man. He's
doing really well.
He's very well. He's really come into his own. I mean, everybody in that group has, but he of all of the guys you probably were worried about the most getting anything out of the New Day deal, but I think he can manage anybody.
Honestly, the biggest thing that worries me about it is that there's no one on his level on the roster that he can like actually talk with. I mean, what, like fucking Cena or Heyman? Or, like, who can he realistically have a fucking talk-off with and not just completely own them and destroy them, you know? Like, geez. Miz, you know? I mean...
We'll talk about Miz later on.
Yeah.
Because that guy's...
And then, so the Dudley Boys say they've got their own song now that they're going to do, and Kofi goes... You ain't got bars.
You ain't got bars. I remember that.
That was great.
You ain't got bars. That was number one.
That was great. New Day are always super entertaining. I mean, they do the exact same thing all the time, but it's always really entertaining, so I really don't mind.
Yeah, I like the New Day. I mean, I like that they entertain me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're there to do.
They are.
And they're a good
They
heel
do well.
team. I mean, they gave
do
them the main
the-
event tonight. They know what they're doing.
They did. They trust them.
They've done that like 2 weeks in a row now. I feel.
They talk. They're pretty close with Vince, according to their interview with Jericho. They're pretty.
Okay.
Vince believes in them, and they were always in his room, pitching himself when they were trying to get the New Day off the ground at first.
Yeah.
And they were always, when he made that millennial comment, they were like, we knew he wasn't talking about us because we were in his room, all the time, every day. And I was like, I can appreciate that.
Understandable, man. That's cool.
They announced the primetime players in New Day next week for the quote-unquote season premiere.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Well, I hate why they do that.
You remember last year when they did the season premiere?
Yeah.
It was the Randy Orton and Roman Reigns rematch from SummerSlam. And then they had the Bray Wyatt and Chris Jericho in a steel cage. And they were like...
Oh, yeah.
And then this year, they're like, tag match, Divas match. Yeah.
That's true, because that Wyatt Jericho match was actually pretty cool in the steel cage.
It was in your face. It was like, we're competing with Monday Night Football. This year, they're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
who cares? Football, who watches football? And then next week, they're going to get their asses handed to them.
And John Cena's going to be given the promo at halftime.
Yeah.
Because they always fucking do that.
Yeah, they did the halftime thing with him and Heyman last year. I remember he was gonna possibly beat up Paul Heyman at halftime if Paul Heyman didn't do something. I remember
They're literally just like, hey, go watch this other show until it tells you until halftime, and then come back and watch Raw for like 20 minutes, and then go back.
You know
to
how
watching
this
that
is
show.
sports entertainment? That's real sports. Watch them.
Yeah, exactly. Don't watch us. Watch them.
Why are you encouraging me to watch real sports? I'm trying to get sports entertained, my nigga. Come on.
Speaking of sports
I'm
entertainment,
trying to get sports entertained.
the best segment of the show was next. Rusev's True Thug Love Story 2015.
Jeez, please.
You know what my favorite line was Rusev telling he called Summer submissive. I
Yeah,
was like,
sweet
ooh.
submissive Summer.
ooh.
He doesn't give a shit, dude. He's wilding out there, man.
And she did remind me to pick up that Iron Man magazine so I can be in the bathroom and look at it.
Read that article for the
Read that
specifically for
article.
the article. I mean,
That
see her
specific
fitness
one.
tips, man.
Her fitness tips I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Best fitness tips.
the summary of this storyline is just like Rusev is a thug, and Dolph Ziggler is a terrible person, and
He made a
Bitches
sex
is
joke
crazy.
too.
oh, there
It
were
was
multiple
like-
sex jokes. The first one was in the summer when Summer was like, "Remember when you were banging me against the glass at that hotel?"
Oh yeah. He I forgot what he said when Ziggler was coming out.
Make
he
you
goes,
feel never something. Make you
Yeah,
feel.
he did feel like he does. Like he doesn't make her.
Even he got
feel
tripped
the
up by
way
it when he was coming
feels
out.
Like her does. Yes.
I don't. It was something weird. It was something like really jumbled.
But
He
it
even
was
came out
sex.
like when he came out, he was also like, something about making her feel good last night or something like that.
And
I
then the
like,
crowd was
"Okay."
like, "Oh, he said something."
It was like a 7th grader trying to bring you about banging your mom or something.
Fucking Seth Rollins.
Is that what your mom said last night? That was
what
the
your mom
equivalent of the joke.
Seth Rollins is like a shitty kid on Xbox Live. He just
Bad
talks shit
times.
about your mom and listens
And
to
bang.
hair metal. That's all I really have to say about that segment, honestly. Lana got injured. Apparently, she was supposed to be wrestling, which was the culmination. I thought it was the culmination of this storyline that they were going to have a mixed tag match, and she just transitions into being a singles wrestler from there.
Yeah, she's gone for like 4 months.
She's out for a while. Like
I thought that they would just be like, no more. Done with this.
I really thought they were just going to drop the angle, but who knows? Maybe at Night of Champions, one of them will just get a clean win, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, Rusev will just kick him and put him in an accolade tap, and they'd be like, that's it.
Yeah, and I feel like they'll just they'll just have him go with Summer for like 4 more months, and then when Lana's good and all that, they'll do a surprise return, whatever.
I would rather him beat Ziggler, and then Summer tries to kiss him, he just like puts his hand into her face, and he's just like, done. And he's just like the Bulgarian brute again. And then when Lana comes back, he's like,
wouldn't we all?
Blah, blah, blah. And brings out Lana, and we can get back to the status quo, and we can act like this whole episode never happened.
That would be nice.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? Yeah, you know what would be cool too is if the Shield reunited, and if Daniel Bryan came back to the roster. But
you know, one of those things is going to happen at one point. I wanted to talk to you about Daniel Bryan in New Japan, but we can save that afterwards.
Yeah. So the next match was our favorite match of the night.
Yes.
Fucking Blamus and Borden.
In my veins.
Sheamus's Titantron is my favorite thing ever because it's just like cross, angels, church, cross, angels, Sheamus, cross, angels, Sheamus, cross. And then he comes out and he's doing a cross and he's like, come at me, bro. And then he goes
Probably
up
likes
to
David Cross, the comedian.
That's a good one. Hey.
Like that, right?
But yeah, I remember somebody online was like, somebody find out how many times these two have done it. And they have wrestled each other 18 times.
Wow.
Okay, honestly, when that match came on, I watched like the first 2 minutes or however long it was until the commercial break. And then once that commercial break came on, I started watching commercials, I got up, and then the match came back on, and I fell asleep. I honestly have no idea what happened. I've seen that match so many times, it's not interesting at all anymore. Just completely tired of it.
My mom asked if it was an important match, and I know the rubber match thing. The rubber match thing was brought up. I was like, how is this a rubber match? This is the 18th time, and my mom asked. And my cousin was like, it doesn't matter who wins it doesn't matter. I was like, why am I watching then? If it doesn't matter who wins, why should I even watch this? And why should I be invested in this? And I will tell you, I did not watch this match. I did some grooming. I cut my nails a little bit, checked my hair.
Hey, good for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got a haircut, so it has to be checked and
yeah,
groomed.
Dude.
Nicely.
Might as well get some use out of your time.
Exactly. When you have the 15 minutes and 50 seconds.
They went through two commercial breaks, almost 3.
2 commercial breaks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Who has that kind of patience?
See, I fell asleep. Good thing I fell asleep.
It was just like I tried to give it an honest chance because I just don't want to write people off immediately. You never know; they could pull out a good match on Raw just if they feel like it. They did not. Randy Orton and Sheamus are both wrestlers who you might as well only watch them at pay-per-views. Like, and every other time they're just kind of on autopilot.
They have a good opponent to carry them in a good match.
Yeah, I mean, Randy Orton is good when he has a good opponent. The thing with Randy Orton is just like, I don't even see him wrestle anymore. It's like I don't even it's like I'm watching it happen on the screen, but I'm not actually seeing anything. It's just like my eyes are glazed over, and it's just
weird.
Yeah, it's like I'm aware of the fact that Randy Orton's on screen, but I'm not actually seeing him do any of his moves. It's just kind of happening. It's a weird phenomenon.
But then they always do the whole thing. Oh, look, they're KO out of nowhere, and it's like
they've done a good job at least like making the RKO a thing now, and it's just like, all right, he hit an RKO, and it's acceptable as a clean finish now.
It is an acceptable clean finish.
It's just like,
which is good.
Whatever. When it actually comes out of nowhere, good. When somebody
you can appreciate it.
When somebody does a jumping flying nothing into him for no reason, then you're just like,
yeah, that's when you're like, what the hell did I just watch?
There's a point during this match, again, a great commentary moment where JBL Sheamus had just gone for a pin, and it was right in the leading up to the finish of the match, and Randy Orton kicks out at 2. And JBL goes, Sheamus is apoplectic. Apoplectic. And I had to look.
I don't know what that
I had to
means.
look it up after that. I had to look it up. It means that he's extremely upset or overcome with anger. He could have just said
Hello?
that.
You know who would be great to be back? Sid Vicious. Psycho Sid needs to make a comeback for real.
I like how they keep bringing back all these old people to try and make the product better.
Yeah,
Because
it's
the tag team is kind of dead right now.
yeah, they're just hey, we can't build anyone. Let's just bring in these guys that used to be over.
Yeah, let's do that. People will like that, right?
They're still over. They're still over. It's just
No, I mean, you know what I mean. Not that they were over 10 years ago and they're cruising off that. They're
people wanted Bubba to come back as a singles guy because towards the end of his
well, he had that
TNA
one.
run-
He had that one show in the Rumble.
Yeah, he was the only one. I didn't know if my brother was like, Dudley Boys are coming back. And I was like, you were just saying that out of your butt, and then it happened. He's like, I told you. I was like, but you had no merit in that. You were just being
really
an
did. Yeah, they just kind of
You're being
came
an
out.
attitude. You're being an attitude era stan, and you're just longing for the good old days. That's why you said that. I got into it with attitude era stain on Twitter today. It was terrible.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Killing
too.
me. I can't explain it. They don't get it, man. They need the TV 14. That's the only way to have good wrestling television, apparently.
To them, when viewers equals good TV, to them,
Yeah,
they were just
that was what it
yeah,
was.
they had really good ratings, so that means it was really good wrestling, guys.
Yeah.
If
No.
you actually watch the Attitude Era, a lot of run-ins,
There was
A
nothing
lot of crap.
so
there was
much
nothing
shit.
there was nothing but there were maybe I say about 4 or 5, 6 great characters, and then you had a few good wrestlers, but they were only allowed to wrestle 4 to 5 minute matches because
Yeah,
Vince
match
Russo's
quality
idea
has
was
come up so much since then.
very much so.
Average match
Vince-
on Raw that goes for 10, 15 minutes is better than anything in the Attitude Era.
Russo's idea was at the time people don't want to see wrestling matches. They like wrestlers, but they want to see segments. They want to see storylines. They wanted that, and they did. That was what was good for today, for that time. But now that kind of product would.
Yeah. It's a big reason why the product doesn't do too well right now.
If it was a 3-hour Raw and that kind of Crash TV, the ratings would be in the ones.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean just in the sense that they're focusing. They always want to get to the after the match action. The match doesn't matter. Everything outside the match matters. You know.
And there's a point where I enjoy that. You know, I've been watching Attitude Era Raws while watching 93 Raws. There's a lot of fun to them. There's a lot of good segments. The characters everybody can shine as a character, but there was a lot of bad and there was a lot of good. It had its highs and it had its lows, like every era does. It's just about utilizing people the best way. That's all it is.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the way they did the match with bringing it back to Orton Sheamus, Orton won clean, and then the Wyatts came out.
Yeah.
They didn't interrupt the match and lead to a no contest, and then Braun Strowman choked him out, and then Randy Orton looked like a bitch, and then Sheamus looked like whatever, he could have stole the pin or anything, but
I like the post-match angle.
yeah, it was done well.
I've been clamoring
Because
for...
right before the match, they had Randy Orton talking with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much just foreshadowing he's going to be the third guy at Night of Champions.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much.
And then, coincidentally, Wyatt family comes out afterwards and beats the hell out of him.
I've been itching for Been itching for Sheamus and not Sheamus, itching for Orton and what's his face, Wyatt for a long time, man.
Yeah, anyway,
I-
even if that's the only way I can see that feud, because that'll really propel Wyatt when he gets into that feud with Orton.
Yeah, and I don't think Randy's gonna have too much of a problem putting him over since he
Oh,
knows
no.
the Shawn Michaels schedule.
Exactly, man. Orton's plus Orton's always more passionate when he has a good opponent, and you can tell when he's phoning it in. Like, it's just so blatantly obvious sometimes with Randy Orton, and he'll really shine in a feud with Wyatt
He
because
would.
there's just a lot that they could do there. He's got voices in his head, dude, and Ryback
He's got voices in his head.
Wyatt is
He
crazy.
does.
Wyatt's a crazy guy. So I mean,
Maybe Wyatt is. John Clark had the idea that that Wyatt is the voices in his
Wyatt's
head.
all the voices, dude, and
I
that means
control the
Randy Orton
voices.
is Sister Abigail.
Yeah, makes sense. I can go with that.
Just blew my mind, bro.
Maybe M. Night Shyamalan should be a writer on the WWE team.
You know,
You know, sometimes I think he does.
yes, seriously.
Like on the side, he sketches something up and they adapt it and they throw it into like part of the.
Considering the finishes of some of the pay-per-views lately, I think so. Yeah, there's definitely been some twists.
Before we move on to the Dudleys and Los Matadores, to anybody who really believes that the Attitude Era is vastly superior to any wrestling era, think about this. The Undertaker was sacrificing Stephanie McMahon to a higher power that ended up being Vince McMahon. That was a storyline that played over for months. And you think that's better than what you're watching today? Get out of
Yes. Duh.
Get out of
Hello?
Obviously.
Are you stupid?
Obviously. Viewers.
God, dude.
Hey, I was alive during that era. I was watching that whole time. So people can't hit me with you don't understand. You weren't there. I was born into that. That was when I started watching wrestling. Was during the Attitude Era. I know.
You merely adopted the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
I was born into it, molded by it.
Idiots.
Viewers and ratings is exactly what shows good product.
Good.
Yeah, that's he brought that up in an argument too. Is that it was getting an 8, and now it's getting like a 3 or a 2.9.
And that's also false. I don't think there was once. I don't think there was. There may have been one episode that they got a whole 8 point something. There have been segments that got 8s, but the overall ratings were like maybe 4, 5s, and 6s. I can't think of an Attitude Era episode that was like 8 point something.
It says, I just Googled it, it says that on May 10th, 1999, WWE broadcast an episode of Raw that achieved an 8.1, the show's highest ever. So that was one show that they got an 8.1.
One show.
Yeah. I'm trying to see like the highest rated Raws. But I'm not really finding anything. But that's what I'm finding is that was the highest rated Raw ever. Was May 19th, 1999.
Quickly, the Dudley Boys beat Los Matadores.
Yep.
They don't like El Torito.
Yeah, that was weird. So El Torito does like a distraction thing, and that causes them to lose the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kick his ass. They fucking kick his head off.
Good.
It was either
Kick his head off.
Primo or Epico.
Don't you mean Diego or Fuego?
Is it Fuego? Is it Fernando? I think?
Fernando.
Fandango?
Fandango.
It's definitely not. Jesus.
I think his name is Fuego. I'm keeping it as Fuego.
Or is it
Yeah,
Hunico?
keep it like that.
It might be Hunico and Epico. And then Sin Cara.
Man, I was watching
a little
this.
bit of Rey Mysterio.
There's this series on the WWE YouTube channel called Superstar Toys. And it's like collections of all the WWE superstars. And one of them, it goes to Hunico's house, and it's Hunico out of character. And he's like presenting his collection of lucha masks. And he has all these masks. He has masks from like Blue Demon and like Mysticis and all these stuff. and then he's talking about his career, and he was like, "Yeah, I was the Black Sin Cara, and then I was the Blue Sin Cara." And then he was like, by the way, I was actually the original Mystico. So it's actually like, there's actually like kind of some history there between that, when like the whole Sin Cara versus Sin Cara thing.
Oh, there's a ton of it that that has never interested me.
And absolutely
those guys were good.
Absolutely none of it made it to TV. It was just scary Sin Cara versus good Sin Cara.
That was it.
But either way,
I remember my brother hated Sin Cara. He was always pooping on him.
he seemed like a pretty cool guy.
Hunako is cool. He's a cool guy.
I would have a beer with him to talk about comic books or something.
I don't have a problem with Huni.
Cesaro versus Miz.
This could have been something, man. This could have been somebody.
It definitely could have been a match.
And it just...
I like when Cesaro put the hat on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, at the start I thought it was just going to be like a little squash match, but then
Big Show.
It just started going a completely different way.
Before even Big Show showed up, I mean, they were having a decently competitive match.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess he just kind of follows Miz around now.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's just so mad at Miz now.
He fucking hates Miz so much that he interrupts Miz's feuds with other wrestlers.
And then hits the other wrestler.
Yeah, for no reason. So now that's probably what they're going to do. I mean...
I can't believe Big Show is still around.
The thing is, Cesaro and Big Show are, like, good together, at least. Like, they can do stuff there.
I liked what I saw between Cesaro and what's his face, Miz. I think they have pretty good chemistry too.
Yeah,
I never knew that they did, but
Miz is like I enjoy his in-ring work. I really do.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
He's good on the mic. His in-ring work is slightly above average.
Yeah, I mean it's not great or anything. But
it's not great or anything to write home about. But he, with the mic skills that he has, he can get by on that.
Yeah, he's a heel. He doesn't need a great stuff. He just doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
He can get by with the headlock and facial expressions.
Okay, now we can tell Raymond about our plan for The Miz.
Oh, so we have this great plan. It's going to involve, first, Charlotte, second, The Miz, and third, Ric Flair.
Wait, what?
Ric Flair, Charlotte, they all manage The Miz as he goes against John Cena again. And John Cena's U.S. champion.
First, preface this. So, Charlotte wins the Divas Championship, obviously, off of Nikki.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
After that, come on, Nikki. And after that, she decides. After that, she decides to go manage Miz. She's like, okay, Miz. They're like, she's got a connection to him. She's just like, I'm gonna go with this guy. Maybe they have a Miz TV segment or something like that. And she decides to join him or something like that. And they're just like, you know, you and my dad have history. You use the figure 4 and I have the figure 8. Maybe they can even do like a shitty romantic thing with it if they want, or tie in with something else. Who gives a fuck? And then Ric Flair can get involved from there, because Ric Flair has history with Miz, and Ric Flair obviously father of Charlotte. So he can kind of be like the Zen culture involved in them, I guess. You know, he manages both of them, and kind of.
I think they would be good if they led a campaign against Cena, being that Cena is not only chasing his Flair's title.
That was the other half of the
record.
Yeah. So the other half of the angle was that he was going to be feuding with Miz, was going to be feuding John Cena off of it. John Cena was going to hold the U.S. title, presumably off of Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, it'll lead to a Miz-Cena feud, which could be really good.
They haven't done it in such a long time.
And honestly, if they had the balls, they could just tie in Charlotte and Nikki, but they wouldn't.
I don't think they would. I mean, they could do that, and they can officially turn Nikki face since they're so like afraid of her actually being like a full blown heel.
It's true.
They don't want that. That's like the worst thing is her being a full blown heel, so she can play heel one week and then play face the next week. It's just they want her to be a face so bad. So just let her be a baby face and let her and Cena be acknowledged. They're already on Total Divas.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can do a mixed tag. You can alternate mixed tags with the two of them, and you can go with it at possibly like at SummerSlam of next year.
Exactly. No.
Okay, I like that. That's not bad.
It
could work if they ever wanted to do
that
so.
angle could.
But,
I mean, that's not a bad angle.
It would elevate the Divas involved. It would be something new for Cena. It would tie in with Cena's win streak and everything like that.
It would be good for Miz too, but it wouldn't be too big for Miz where it would take too much from everybody else.
Exactly. It could just be that could be like their next thing. So.
But I doubt that they would ever do something like that.
No, because they'd have to bring in Flair, and then I mean they have a boner for bringing in old wrestlers, but up to a point,
not for that long.
Yeah, up to a point, like they're not going to have them traveling with them, showing up on shows. That's a lot for an old guy like that.
True.
You know. So
True.
So that was our idea for the Miz Charlotte Flair angle.
Okay.
Hopefully they have this at some point in the future. It'd be cool. At least some kind of Miz Charlotte interaction, because there was like a nod between them in the Miz TV segment.
A couple weeks ago.
And Charlotte didn't Charlotte like say something towards him?
Yeah, about the figure four or about her and her dad.
Yeah. So there's development. They could go there.
They have it in there. You see that ad for NXT with Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus Lucha Dragon?
I did.
That was cool.
It was cool.
I like that they acknowledge that that's a thing.
Yeah, they just shouted it out. It was I don't think they even promoted Takeover Brooklyn, so on Raw.
They weren't very talking about that very much.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it's just made them take it seriously now, you know.
And then they were a lot better.
Yeah.
Mm.
So.
Okay, now can I talk about the Bellatron? How it's 7 days away from me being the longest reigning Divas Intercontinental European Champion.
Come on, Nikki.
Look,
when she's going off about the celebration, she's like, we're going to be popping bottles and
getting into
we're
Brie
going to
mode.
go Brie mode, and you bitches better get your whole asses out here. Like,
it was about to go down.
God, dude, talk about the fucking frat girls or sorority girls. Fucking,
I want to shout out Katie Linendahl for doing the greatest Nikki Bella impersonation. I modeled my impersonation off of Katie Linendahl's impersonation of Nikki Bella, because when I heard it, I was like, why aren't more people doing this? Everybody needs a Nikki Bella impersonation, because of all the people, I'm even including Ryback, The New Day, and even Cena, Nikki Bella is the most fun wrestler to imitate.
She really is.
It works wonders for your life. Whenever you're having a bad day, I suggest you do a Nikki Bella impression.
it's pretty much just like the Mean Girls thing, right?
Yeah, that's all it is I'm going to draw out my words, and I'm going to make a point.
Make everything end in a question.
I wonder if she, like, if that's...
Put an upwards inflection on the end of, like,
is that her promo style? She's, like, proud of that. I'm like...
She probably does. She's like, yeah, I'm doing a really good Valley Girl. And it's like, no, that you're just doing that. Like, there's no wink and a nod here. You're just doing the thing.
Just
Don't be
doing
proud of
the
yourself.
thing.
Don't be
Pretty
proud of
much,
yourself. I'm not...
Don't
No.
be happy about that. You're not
No.
doing anything.
It's so
No,
funny
you're not.
because they're just... I know exactly the type of girls that they are because they're from Scottsdale, which is like an hour north of me, and it's like the rich part of Phoenix. It's like Hollywood Junior, where all the rejects go and shit, and like they try to be actresses, and they're like they're the little Mexican daughters of the rich family that owns a bunch of land and shit out there.
And now the mother's
and now they're reality
people
stars,
power.
and the mom is engaged to J-Law and Sean Laurinaitis.
The realest general manager of all time.
Shout out to People Power.
People power. I would much rather hear his voice than the on and off Stephanie McMahon and Hunter heel face turn every week thing that they do.
Yeah, the one that is just like, we're just going to get over at everyone's expense.
At everyone's expense. Every single person. They even try to do it over John's expense, and I'm like, are you it's John Cena, you can't do that.
So, Big Man John actually comes out as the first entrant in the 6-man.
Big Match John.
I was surprised because people were saying didn't know if he was going to be on Raw. There was the whole...
he didn't come out as the very first guy.
Kevin Owens sat on his face.
Okay, that was all Cena's fault. That was all Cena's fault.
Yeah, it is, because he keeps trying to do that freaking handspring thing and it doesn't work.
At all. I saw that. I'll finally watch that video. I was like, God, that was stupid.
Yeah. It's just like, you can't do it, dude. Stop trying to do these little moves for someone who's like half your size. Because he's a fucking huge guy.
You're too big to be trying to do that. I know he's trying to keep having the quote-unquote best year of his career. He's having a good career. He's having some great matches. I'll give him that. But you're at a house show, buddy.
Exactly.
In Virginia. Calm down.
It's so weird because, like, I know that he stopped doing the bulldog because his, like, hips are really bad. Mm-hmm. I was reading something about that, and he's just said that in an interview. He's just like, I just stopped doing that move because I was really injured. And now he does a tornado DDT from the top rope, and he lands on his ass. And the exact same way.
Push yourself some way.
Dude, what are you doing, man? Like, or he does the springboard stunner, which looks like absolute shit. And I think he says he didn't get all of it, which is just code for it looks like shit.
He did it on Ambrose like once. Then I was like, okay, it hit, cool. And then like
I forget who he did it to. He did it to when he did it to Seth Rollins. It didn't even do anything. Seth Rollins got hit by it, and then he just got up.
Yeah, he had to like.
He was just like,
didn't hit him enough. He was just like, okay, I have to do this.
Yeah, he's like, okay, well, what'd you do? Like, slap me or something? Like,
It looked
that's
good
all it
once
looked like.
with Owens, and the other time Owens did it didn't look good because fucking Cena just doesn't get all of it, man.
It's not his move. Don't do it.
He needs to stop it.
I'm all
He's
for
got to
him.
show that he's expanding his moveset. Come on, man.
I'm all for him expanding his moveset. I'm all for him putting on these whole I'm gonna be the work rate king matches, but what are you doing, man?
What are you doing? That's the.
It's kind of late for you to start expanding your moveset.
At
You
least
probably should have done that. Like,
don't be doing this indie shit out there. Like, what do you think? This is a PWG, man. Like,
He wants to fit. He wants to fit in. He wants to look good. He knows he's with some of the best wrestlers in the world. He knows Kevin Owens is great. He knows Sami Zayn is great. He knows Neville's great. He knows that.
He knows what NXT is, and he knows that they're all there and they're all going to be on main roster.
And so you have to change with the times. I completely understand it, and I'm okay with him doing those cool moves. It's just knowing when to do them and knowing what you can and can't do.
Yeah, it's just he could bust out so many other moves. Just like the ones that he does, he's kind of aiding from other people, and ones that work well for others. So he kind of got Sami Zayn's tornado DDT, and then obviously the springboard stunner is like a fucking Austin thing, and the springboard element of it is basically like an RKO. I mean, let's be real. And
hey, but these moves have been around forever, so they don't belong to anybody.
No, they don't. Absolutely
These
not.
are all just moves.
And it's the fact that he does a springboard or whatever is what separates it from everyone just saying, "Oh, he just did a stunner. Fuck him."
Yeah.
But it's just
because if he was doing that, if he was just doing a stunner, he wouldn't be able to. He would have some problems.
It's just the very first time he used it, they kicked out. Dean Ambrose kicked out at 2, and so it's just like, all right, that's a transition move. That's not worth anything now.
Yep.
It's just like, who cares? It's
Okay,
just another.
can we talk about that fan?
Oh yeah, so this guy, this
yeah,
dude
that
jumps
fan.
out and he's like strutting to the ring with Seth Rollins.
That was cool.
The camera follows him for like a good 2 or 3 seconds, and then it cuts to John,
Yeah, like-
and then John's like, "Hey," and he's like yelling at the ref to fucking get
him
the
out,
fan
get him
out
out.
of there.
Get him out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, he's going, get him out, get him out. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. At first, I was like, okay, well, the camera's just following him, so I guess
Everyone gets
that's supposed to happen.
distracted. The entire thing gets derailed. Basically, his whole entrance gets fucked up.
Yeah.
Rollins doesn't give
I
a
thought
shit. He just keeps walking.
Rollins is so
I don't
G
even know if
about it.
Rollins
He's like,
saw him. I thought he just like. I thought
No,
he just
Rollins
walked
I'm
past
sure
and
he
never saw
did.
him.
He was just
Oh,
like,
okay.
Rollins looked at him at one point. He's like,
yeah, because the
what?
camera,
Okay.
because the camera cut away from them at a
Yeah.
certain point.
Because I
Rollins
remember,
has
the
this good-
security got up and they went after him a little bit.
He got mobbed by security.
they were. He was just trying to hang out with Seth Rollins. He wasn't trying to do anything crazy.
Yeah. He just wanted to touch
Yeah,
him.
he was just watching. He was just walking next to him.
He's just a big Seth Rollins fan.
Not the
But
time.
aren't we
man.
all?
Not the time. Go to a con, you know? Go to
Yeah, go to a
signing.
con, and yeah, that's the time to do that. There's a time and place.
So,
But yeah, John Cena and the Primetime Players beat Seth Rollins in the New Day.
I like that they made the Rollins
The main
New Day
event.
team official, at least.
Mhm.
Because people are already theorizing that at SummerSlam because they were both wearing white. And then they're
They
just
had
like,
the
you know what?
picture.
Everyone who has the belts, just stick them together.
Stick it, brother.
The Power Rangers.
Yeah,
All
right?
Power Rangers.
They were all white Rangers.
I'll be honest with
Yep.
you guys. I wasn't really into this match. I didn't really pay attention to it that much.
What, the main event?
Mm-hmm.
You know, really, I really wasn't into it either. I mean,
Yeah, it definitely happened.
I don't like the primetime players, so
Yeah.
anytime I kind of see them, I'm just not interested.
The thing was,
I-
a huge amount of the match was the New Day getting heat on John Cena, and he said he
that
was
was
doing
usual.
funny shit on the outside. But there was seriously like, I watched it. There was like a 2-minute segment or a 2-minute sequence where Biggie locked in a headlock on John Cena, like did something, did like the New Day clap or whatever with his feet. And then he would
And
go
then
off the
dance a little
ropes,
bit.
hit it, and dance a little bit, and then he would hit him with a shoulder block, and then go out, and then go right back to the headlock. And then they did that. It seriously went on for like 2 minutes, where they just went back to the headlock, and then they would cut to Xavier Woods doing something goofy on the outside of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever catch at the end of the commercial break, like right before the commercial turned, it was like, yeah, is he gonna play something on a saxophone? And I was like, what?
Yeah, I said saxophone.
It's a trombone.
It's a trombone.
Yeah, I was like, it's a trombone, man. Come on.
Who said that? Was that Byron?
I think it was Byron.
I guarantee it's either going to be Byron or JBL,
It was-
because JBL's always fucking drunk.
It wasn't.
Shit.
I don't think it was JBL.
JBL's
It
smart
didn't
though.
sound like
He knows
JBL.
he knows his instruments.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Byron.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Because it didn't sound like JBL at all.
And Michael Cole wouldn't say something that stupid.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wouldn't go there. But I like the one part where Kofi's doing the stomps, and then he does like a whip, like an Irish whip with Biggie, and into a drop kick, and then
that
Xavier
was
Woods
awesome.
is on the trombone, and he's like, and everyone marked out the fucking the whole
It was
stadium.
awesome.
That was really cool.
I think.
One
Go
thing
ahead.
about the match I didn't like was that, I mean, the whole that match was scheduled because Seth Rollins was supposed to be in 2 matches.
Yeah,
Like, that was set at the beginning.
yeah.
But he was barely even in that match.
Well, that was kind of the story,
Like, at
I
all.
guess.
I mean, but still, like, why are you're gonna say,
Well,
hey, you're gonna get you prepared for this, put you in 2 matches, but he didn't really do anything in the match, so basically
Like
he
at
was only
all.
like in 1 match.
It's true. It would have been
And
much
it
more
kinda-
effective if they would have had like Titus or Darren drawing heat on Rollins the whole time. You know.
Yeah, or
Or
something.
yeah, somebody.
It was poorly laid out, in my opinion. I just don't think that Rollins not being in the match very long is good for like the whole hey, you're going to be in 2 matches thing, and to set up for Night of Champions or whatever.
Okay, yeah, totally understand.
It was sorry, man. It was honestly a sorry main event.
It's just
Titus got a good pop when he got the hot tag. That was good for him.
well, that's Titus' gimmick.
He's the big guy who saves everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they can kind of get out of a singles run with him, but
I think they give him like a Ryback build.
mm-hmm.
You know?
I think Big E and Kofi are going to be much better off after the New Day split.
Well, they have to get rid of some of the singles guys first. Like maybe if Ryback goes away or a little bit, then maybe Titus can fill this spot.
Ryback's
I don't think
IC title.
Or if they actually elevate Ryback, which I don't know if they will.
No, I don't.
But I
don't see them fully
there's-
pulling the trigger on Ryback for a while
Not for a while.
Yeah.
because it's just not there yet. He's getting there. His promos are getting there, and his match quality especially is starting to get better. And I'm sure that they're noticing. He's definitely picked up a lot of stuff from Daniel Bryan. I just got to say.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's not a bad person to be learning from at all.
absolutely not, man. And it's just like, if he's getting his match quality is getting better, his promos are getting better, his character's starting to get a little better. He's still pretty much just like a 5-year-old toddler in the body of a wrestler, and he just yells stuff and then hits people. But I mean, what else is there out of wrestling,
Not a lot.
Yeah. So he wears a fucking singlet on top of Under Armour shorts and like a little cape.
Stupid.
And he's just got so many accessories. Him and Dolph Ziggler need to have a fucking accessory off.
Yeah, I still
Accessory
don't
off.
understand how those two didn't have a tag team with each other.
Just based off of the amount of things that they wear.
Because they had
Ryback.
Rybaxel. That's why.
Ryback was way more important.
Man, the Rybaxel
Was.
breakup promo was pretty cool. They just split up nicely, and they're just like, all right, good luck, guys. And Ryback was basically just like, all right, your career's over, Curtis Axel. Like, he just shook his hand and he walked away, and Curtis Axel's like, all right, I guess I'm going to go to NXT for like 6 months and then do nothing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened.
So I give Raw like a.
Whoa, wait, there was a Sting and Rollins go home.
Oh yeah,
Don't forget about
the trash can, the trash man.
So,
The statue
yeah, there was that whole
the trash
segment
can.
after the match. So the Primetime Players and Cena win the match. Cena does the Primetime Players dance, millions of dollars, and then they leave the ring.
Like everyone
and then
does.
As they're walking backstage, Rollins comes back into the ring and just starts calling out Sting. He's like, Sting! And
Stank.
Stang!
Stank.
Stang!
And then the garbage truck was behind him, and Sting was like, "I'm Joker Sting again."
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna. You look at this is your statue, and it's gonna get
He's like,
broken.
hey, look, statue, trash.
Hey, look at this
truck.
local trash company from your
What
city.
could do? Haha.
Baltimore, where are you?
Yeah, right.
And then he stands in
Yo,
it for a while and he
Baltimore,
goes,
what's up?
Maybe I'll push it. Maybe I
Maybe.
won't.
Maybe.
I'm gonna push it in. And then he pushes it in.
Yeah, push it in.
And he definitely pushes it in, and then we get a view of absolutely nothing happening, and then the thing gets crushed. But we don't get to see
Yeah.
it. It's just kind of crushed, and we just know it's
Yeah,
crushed.
it's kind of crushed. We know it's crushed.
They don't
It was
even.
like
no
the
longer
ant-
there.
It was the anti-Brock Lesnar segment where Lesnar destroyed the car.
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm
J&J.
saying. Like,
Yeah. Well, at least
Sting should have
they
destroyed
won't
that
drag
garbage
around a
truck.
crushed statue for like 3 weeks or something.
At least he's
Don't
stuck.
count him out.
So wait, Sting is kayfabe driving around a garbage truck from arena to arena with a fucking.
Oh god, please!
Because he's
no.
gonna show up with it next week. He's gonna be like, remember this?
Remember this, and it shows it. Oh, we're gonna get that video package like 5 or 6 times too.
Jeez.
Was
I'm ready.
it's I think it was cool that Sting has been prominently featured the last 3 episodes of Raw. But the execution of Sting these past 3 episodes of Raw, and ever since WrestleMania, it's been bad.
Yeah, it's just like
Sting's presentation's not been good. His music sucks. His character in WWE is not good. He was kissing Triple H's butt last week, and then this week he was a little bit too much Joker Sting, and it didn't work out.
okay.
I'm still
So
excited about the match at Night of Champions, but this build has not been good.
No, it's not at all.
no, it's just Uh,
Basically Sting's character right now is just like, hey, authority, haha, I'm gonna be that little bug on your window messing with you.
yeah, it's like he's so Sting is like supposed to be basically, this is my interpretation of his character, is that he's supposed to be like a supernatural arbiter of justice now. And so he showed up during Survivor Series to stop the Authority, basically just because the Authority were so evil that he just showed up in WWE and he had to stop them because he's a force of justice. And so that was his whole thing, and then there was his build to Triple H match and everything like that. He's taking down the Authority because the Authority's bad, and I stand for justice, and I'm Sting, and so you guys are going down. And now I'm not really sure what his character is at all. Like I said, the whole
I don't know either.
The whole gimmick with him having the statue and stuff. Okay, they got that over with, but it's just still kind of goofy. And he does the whole. He's like leaning off the side of the garbage truck like he's Joker, and
I don't know. Like, who is he now? What does he do? Like, he just.
Well, because the thing is, I never.
He annoys Seth Rollins.
I never
That's
saw.
his gimmick.
Yeah.
He's annoying Seth Rollins. He's just getting on Seth Rollins' nerves a little bit.
Yeah, he's just fucking with him.
Even the way they started with him, he's just like, oh yeah, hey, here's your statue, and then Sting was in there. And
It's like,
oh,
I never
cool.
watched any old Sting when Sting was popular. Was this a part of his character back then?
No.
Was he ever like this?
No.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about his TNA run.
Yeah, it's just like, what
And
the hell?
even then, he had a bit. He had he was more of a savior. Whenever they brought him in TNA, he was a savior. When Immortal was getting out of control, he came in and was there to stop Jeff Hardy, and that could have been good. But Jeff Hardy was on drugs, so that didn't work out. Now he was the Justice guy in WWE.
Yeah,
that didn't work because Wyatt put over Sting, and now he's
Yeah,
back
right.
now. Yeah, why would you do that?
that's just a dumb idea. What the hell?
It's his first WrestleMania appearance.
What are you, stupid?
Why would he win that?
And his first singles match in WWE? That's ridiculous.
At WrestleMania.
Kevin
Yeah,
Owens is
let's make
Kevin
him
Owens
lose.
has a better record in his first match than Sting does.
Beautiful.
Sting
Now-
only had one match, right?
Yeah, he's only had one match.
Yeah, he's
in
only had the one
WWE.
match.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
The one he lost,
And the one he lost, and he didn't.
and then he shook Triple H's hand.
They shook
That
Triple
match
H's
was-
hand.
That match was
Then-
so stupid. It was just like, hey, you remember the Monday Night Wars? Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. The finish sucked. Like,
Yeah,
it was just
and then-
like, okay, it's a fun little nostalgia match. It's a gimmick shit. People come out and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, hey, it's Scott Hall. Oh, hey, it's Hulk Hogan. NWO, remember them? You know, and it's just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it would have been cool if they led up, like they did the build up about that. But the whole
Mhm.
build up to that match wasn't like that.
It's
it wasn't
true.
like, hey,
It wasn't about any of those.
it wasn't
people.
about
It's
any of
absolutely
those
true.
things at all.
It's
It
absolutely
was just
true.
like it was like, hey, I'm gonna beat you because I'm better, or I don't like you, or whatever.
It's absolutely true.
Me and you. It's about me and you, and that's it. And then they came to that match and they're like, yeah, hey, haha, remember all the gimmicks? Yeah, cool, here it is.
What should have happened is that they
You're-
should have had a legit singles match at like Fastlane, and then they could have had the gimmick match or whatever. They could have had a on the next one on Payback. They could have had a legit singles match after the gimmick match.
Yeah, that
You know?
could have
Yes.
worked. I think the fast lane into WrestleMania would have worked
Yeah.
because they were gonna have the confrontation at Fastlane. They could have just had the match.
Yeah, they
at
could have just had
Fastlane.
a
Yeah,
match
they
there.
could have just had a match there. They could have just had like a brawl or something. But all they
Exactly.
did was Sting didn't even talk. He just came out and went.
And he pointed his
Pointed
bat
his-
at them.
Pointed
Yep.
his bat and then pointed at the WrestleMania play button, and then that's it.
And they could have done. Oh, we're gonna do NWO versus DX. We've been waiting for this match, and they could have built it like that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can understand it
Yeah,
then.
it
But,
definitely could
you
have
know.
been done better.
But okay, Monday Night Football is next week,
Yep.
and the last WWE Raw, I'm pretty sure got like a 2.7, and I don't think this one's gonna be too much higher. And they're heading into football season.
Yep. So it's going to be going lower.
Mhm.
So what do you you want to elaborate on this? What do you think?
You know, last year I was so harsh on the WWE product. I was very harsh, and I think it was a lot of it had to do with Bryan being injured.
Yep.
And that was something they couldn't help. And then Reigns got injured, and they couldn't help that. And I understand that. Now you have a Bryan that, yes, he got a concussion, but I mean, he's cleared to compete with his other doctor.
Yeah.
And you can at least
It's not a
try.
WWE doctor.
You can at least try. I'm pretty sure he would pass that impact test. I'm pretty sure he would pass that impact test if he's getting other doctors to say that he's good to go. Your other doctor didn't even know Punk had a staph infection. So what are you doing?
It's purely just the concussion thing, dude. That's why.
And I can understand that. My point is, tonight I felt no urgency. Nothing was announced that was like. Even the women's match and the tag match that was announced was just kind of like thrown out there. And they didn't make... Last year they made graphics about the matches that they were doing next week for their season premiere. And maybe they want to have it as a surprise. And I guess. But you're heading into Monday Night Football. Football is always something people want to watch. It is the American sport.
Yeah.
You have to prepare for this. You have to make sure next week sounds like can't miss TV.
Well,
but they were like,
Yeah.
I think they're just going to go the other way with it and just phone it in, because that's how it gets at a certain point in the year in WWE. And I mean,
they're making a buttload of money off this third hour of Raw, and I can understand getting complacent with that. But when your show is starting to plummet in the ratings, do you really think that USA is going to want to keep this show? Even they're giving you all this money and you're starting to really lose ratings?
They're not even giving them that much money, because they got like way less than they expected on their network dues.
Apparently into
Network
the next
fees.
years that they're going to, as it keeps going, they're going to roll into more money on the third hour. That's what they're banking in on, is making the money off the third hour.
They just have this thing. They're trying to do like sponsorships and stuff now. They're trying to tie in like entrances and Terminator and video packages and all this stuff. And it's just
stuff
like,
that doesn't matter.
What are you doing? It's just like nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants to
they
see
need
this
to-
stuff.
What they need to do is just go back to 2 hours.
But they'll
And
never
I
go
think-
back to 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, if they ever were to go back to 2 hours, I'm pretty sure the product would be a lot better, because they wouldn't be putting in all this bullshit.
They just won't though.
I read,
it just can't happen.
Somebody had the idea that if they want to keep making the money off the third hour, they could cut Raw into 2 hours. But before Raw, you have NXT. Or even just NXT guys.
Yeah,
you have
just
a spotlight.
that's just a brand split, though. I mean,
Yeah, that basically at that point you might as well just do a brand split.
which wouldn't be a bad idea.
No, it wouldn't.
Which I'm all for the brand split. The brand split gave people like Daniel Bryan their first world championship. So I am so okay with the idea of a brand split. That gives all your undercard guys something. Your middle, your upper mid card guys the chance to see if they can sink or swim with a world title.
yeah. I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like they don't want to do a brand split because they feel like it's too convoluted to a first time viewer. They want everything to be in one universe. They want everything to be together, and they want it to be easily digestible to everybody. Because if they go back to having a brand split, then they're going to be explaining it every 5 minutes. And it's just, going back to 2 hours is not financially viable for WWE anymore, unfortunately. That's just their business plan. They have too many sponsorships, they have too many commercials, and honestly, they have too many feuds going on they use their time well, but there really is just so little time, man, and they have to pack so much stuff in. And it's where all this extraneous bullshit comes in, with all the fucking replays, all the ads, all the bullshit that leaves time out of the wrestling. And there's less and less time for the actual wrestling.
They're so afraid
Or the
wrestling
stories.
For a wrestling show, they're so afraid of wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Vince
they're afraid
McMahon
to
talks
be
about
identified.
trying to avoid wrestling for the sake of wrestling. Half of fucking Raw is wrestling for the sake of wrestling. What is the point of these multi-man tag matches that end in a DQ and then nobody gets over and nobody gives a shit and everyone gets their heat? It's just
Yeah,
to
like,
fill
there's-
time.
That time,
It's
man.
just to remind
Just gotta
people
fill that
that
time.
these people exist and that you should care
Yeah.
about them, and maybe buy a T-shirt after the show.
But we don't, and you still want to keep doing it.
So I mean, I don't want to just say
Like, even with like all the, even like the way they announce matches, they're just like, yeah, this match is gonna happen. You're like,
yeah, they've started doing that
Ooh, okay.
at least since Mania,
Cool.
where they're just like, hey, these matches are happening on Raw. The Authority has announced that this match is happening, so it's happening.
yeah, like when what is the team PCB came out, and they were just like, hey, that match, you're gonna have a match for your title.
Yeah, the Authority
week,
granted
Raw.
us this. The Authority granted me this match, so it happened. So it's happening.
And then
now.
if a lot of people don't care about the Bella promos at all, I mean,
It's like you can't give them a
obviously no one
4
even
second,
noticed that.
You can't give them a 30-second promo with Stephanie McMahon where they talk about having that match next week, just
Yeah,
so it
or
makes
anything.
sense.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's
No,
that-
like
that's too
official
much.
announcement, just like, yeah, just come out. Yeah, hey, they granted us this match.
Well, they couldn't have done it without Stephanie getting herself over anyway. But still, she would have been like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, Charlotte, I know I personally trained you, so yeah, go get her." But
She's responsible for everything, dude. Stephanie is responsible. She's the number one diva.
I know I
She's
scouted
she's
you and
she's
trained you
the
and
diva.
made the performance center myself. So I mean, go get her, Charlotte. You
You
got
we
it.
talk about Charlotte or Sasha being the top diva. Stephanie's the top diva.
She is.
She doesn't wrestle. She's the number one.
She doesn't
diva.
wrestle, and she is the number one diva.
Yeah.
Daddy's little
Yeah.
girl.
Jeez. So,
I give it a 5.
out of Raw,
Yeah.
you give it a 5 out of Raw.
5 out of Raw.
Five
All right.
out of Raw.
Yeah. I would say, yeah. I mean, just like a C minus. It was just an average Raw. We
Wait, what? We got a C minus and a 5 out of Raw. Okay.
Yeah. C
here,
minus
hold
and a
on,
5 out of
Yeah.
Raw.
But I'll give it like a 2.4 out of 5. Here we go. Okay.
solid.
Yeah, okay.
How about
It's
give
right
us,
around the
give
same
us
thing.
like a good out of nice?
A good out of nice.
Wait, a good out of nice?
Okay.
So do I get good or nice? Which one do I get?
No.
Like-
Nice is the scale. So
From a Travis Scott album to a Earl Sweatshirt album, it was a 2 Chainz album.
okay. All right.
I'll stick with that one. It was a 2 Chainz album.
Or does that mean
Raw
that-
was definitely a 2 Chainz rating.
So was the first one Travis Scott bad and then Earl Sweatshirt good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to get that
I
straight.
assume the first one listed is the bad, and then the last one listed
Yeah.
is the good.
We're gonna get flack because everyone loves Travis Scott, but he can eat a dick.
I mean,
And a lot of people
there's
also like 2
you're
Chainz.
gonna get a lot of shit for this podcast. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So the yeah, I mean, it was raw, We were talking before we started. We're like, man, this show only had like 6 matches on it.
Yeah.
It actually had
And
7.
only 7 matches.
7
and
matches.
I think 2 were good.
Yeah.
It's so
And
weird,
let's
man.
see, the Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus the Ascension. So
That was
that
a
was a squash match.
essentially.
Yep.
Okay, and then we had
Sasha Page was before
Dudley-
that.
That was pretty good.
but Dudley Boys and Los Matadores. So that's another squash match.
Yep.
So out of 7 matches, we had 2 squash matches.
Jeez.
And then, the Rollins and Ryback match was the best match.
Yeah, it was.
And it wasn't
then-
even that great of a
It
match.
wasn't
Cesaro
even-
and Miz wasn't even really a match. It was just
Mm-mm.
like
it was just a way to get Big Show out there.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the 6-man tag was the 6-man tag, which WWE does the exact same 6-man tag every single time, where they build to a hot tag, and then that happens, and then that's the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to make this product better. They don't even have Kane or J&J security on the product anymore, and I thought that they were hurting the show, but they still
Honestly,
found ways to
I feel-
make the show bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
I
don't,
don't know what they
man.
do. I don't know what they do. I honestly, I usually have all the answers, but I don't know what they do.
The thing is, man,
I feel like this is gonna be a rough fall, boys.
You know what,
the
Kevin
thing
Owens
is, man,
didn't even do anything.
we come from
today.
it's so hard, man, because I come from such a position of love here. Like, I love WWE, and when it's good, it can be so fucking good. But when
Yeah.
it's shitty, it's just like,
It
what
can
the
be very
fuck
bad.
am I watching? Like, why am I...
It makes you
It-
question why you're a fan.
It makes you
sometimes.
question your entire life. You're like, why the fuck am I wasting my time watching this shit on TV? And it's just, and
It
when
ma-
it's good, you're like, oh yeah, I can ignore all of that shit because this is cool.
I'm very. Every bad Raw makes me very excited to watch Ring of Honor on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's what I always
Well, we had
say.
talked about originally doing a Wednesday podcast and then a Raw podcast, but it's just...
It's a lot to do.
It's just a lot to
because
do.
I think I want to do a Sunday. I want to do a Sunday one because by that time I've watched everything and I've kind of had my own thoughts about everything, and I don't want to strictly confine ourselves to talking about Raw because there's so much more stuff.
Yeah, there is.
There's old stuff to talk about. There's
Of
good
course.
indie stuff to talk about.
Of course.
I think we can bring a lot more to the table than after a bad Monday talking about what WWE needs to do
Yeah.
that they probably won't do to change their product and make it better.
Yeah, because, I mean, everyone does that.
I want this to be a little bit different than that, but I mean, I'm always okay with getting on my laptop and on my microphone and talking to my friends about how poopy you are on those occasions when Raw is good.
Yeah.
But this was not one of those nights.
Nope.
Yeah.
When is Night of Champions?
2 weeks, right? 13
It's,
days?
It's not. Next week is the go home show,
Okay.
so it's the week after.
Okay. So this is
Yeah,
usually...
so the 20th, right?
Yeah.
This is usually in the stretch of shows where nothing happens anyway, because the only real development ever happens on the first Raw after next pay-per-view, and then the go-home show. So, and everything in between is always
we
just
should
them
be
kicking their
conditioned
feet.
for bad Raws now.
Yeah.
At this point.
So next we'll get the go-home show, and then the one after that, hopefully we'll get a good Raw with some story development after Night of Champions. Leading into,
maybe.
what, Hell in a Cell?
Hell in a Cell.
And it's going to be Pink Month, too.
It's gonna be Pink Month.
So Pink Rope's in a Hell in a Cell match.
Who do you think is gonna be in the Cell match?
Oh, right now it's going to be a mixed
Rollins.
man. It's going to
Rollins
be a
has to
mixed
be in there.
tag. Ooh,
Who'd you say, Raymond?
Rollins.
And who?
No, I think he has to at least be in there no matter what. I mean, if they are doing the 6-man tag stuff, and I mean, the way they did kind of build a little bit of heat with Cena, the New Day, I think the primetime players could be with Cena, but I don't know if that's actually going to go anywhere or if it was just, today thing. Or
I
tonight thing.
think if they for the Hell in the Cell, I think they go with Rollins and Sting or Rollins and Cena. One of those
yeah,
two,
Rollins
I think,
Cena I
is
could see being Hell in a Cell very easily.
Yeah, Rollins and Cena is. I think Rollins and Cena has the most history behind it to be a Hell in a Cell match.
Because the only other thing I could think of would be like Wyatt's and Shield,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if
and that would have to be
matters on how they do that.
that would be a tag Hell in a Cell, So
I think Hell in a Cell.
That would have been cool if they could ever do that, but they never will.
Hell in a Cell is like the most missed opportunity for a great pay-per-view.
it
Because it could be literally Hell in a Cell could be the best pay-per-view that WWE puts on because it's Hell in the fucking Cell.
Oh,
man.
by the way, the podcast is over. Yeah, we ended that.
Yeah.
We ended that a while ago. Probably
Yeah,
about 5
I already
minutes
assumed
ago.
so. I already assumed so.
Okay, cool.